And it worked just like you said, too. We used that surgical glue, and he went home the next day without any bandages. There was no bleeding, no complications. It worked out wonderful.
Now, we did do that as a last resort.
Oh, yeah. We tried cutting his nails. I'd cut a nail, he'd bite my finger. We'd cut another nail, he'd bite my hand. The only person sorry that he got declawed was my carpenter.
He doesn't have anything to fix anymore, huh?
And that's it.
Okay, well, he is strictly an indoor cat, though, now.
Yes, he's strictly inside.
Because, you know, he could get up a tree with his back feet, but otherwise he'd be virtually defenseless, although I know he does a great job with his teeth.
He does a wonderful job with his teeth.
And, you know, it's hard to believe you always tell me that he's such an easygoing guy at home. You never know. All right, I don't want to stress him any further. Obviously, he's had it with us for the day. Okay. You're all set. I'll see you next year for his boosters, okay?
I did have one question, if you
Sure.
would. A friend of mine who really liked Azar for some peculiar reason went and adopted a white cat with blue eyes. And his veterinarian said that the cat was probably going to be deaf. And Azar, I know, hears every word I say because I yell at him all the time. Why did the veterinarian say that?
All right, he's got a point. 9 out of 10 white cats with blue eyes will have some type of hearing impairment. The white color of the hair coat is associated with a degeneration of the inner ear. The outer ear and the middle ear will be fine, but the inner ear does have problems. Now, a white cat with 2 blue eyes, like Azar has a 3 to 5 times chance of being deaf, more than a cat with 2 green eyes. And if he had 1 blue eye and 1 green eye, he'd be twice as likely to be deaf than if he had 2 green eyes. So for all practical purposes, Azar should have a hearing impairment, and the fact that he hears the can opener and everything else going on is great. Now, deafness is even associated a little bit with hair coat. A long-haired cat, like Azar, has a greater chance of having a hearing impairment than if he had short hair. So the bottom line is, a white cat with 2 blue eyes does stand a good chance of being deaf, and you should do some basic hearing tests at home. When he's sleeping, come over him with some pots and pans and see if he responds, or a whistle or a hand clap, just to check him out. If a cat is going to be deaf, this will even show up at, 3 weeks of age. So if your friend has an 8-week-old kitty or so, if he is showing signs of deafness, sure is a good possibility.
Well, thanks a lot. I'll give him that information.
Okay. Now, I hope you have a carrier in the waiting room to get him out to the car.
I always bring a carrier when I come to the veterinarian's office.
Good for you. You're well trained.
Thank you for putting up with us today.
No problem.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
White cats aren't only predisposed to deafness. The lack of pigment in their skin makes them particularly vulnerable to sunburn, or worse yet, skin cancer. One study shows white cats as having a 13 times greater chance of developing skin cancer, particularly squamous cell carcinoma, than non-white cats, which is just another good reason to keep your white cat indoors and out of the hot summer sun. But let's explore the genetics of the typical calico cat. Thanks, Francine. This is Katie, and she has the typical calico colors of white, black, and yellow. Now, the sex chromosome makeup of a female cat is typically XX, and a male cat would be XY. But have you ever noticed that calico cats are almost always females? Well, this is because the color yellow is only carried on the X chromosome. So for a male tortoiseshell cat to exist, and they do, but it's very rare, that male must have an abnormal sex chromosome constitution of XXY instead of the typical XY. So that's why most of your calico cats will always be female. And incidentally, if you do have a very rare male, he's most likely sterile. Now, a cat's genetic makeup can even determine how they respond to catnip. 30% of cats won't even be interested because they just weren't born with the gene for it. Now, I don't know if it's part of the genetic makeup, but all pets are not born to travel. And if you'd like to have an easier time on the road with your pet, watch. If you're traveling long distances, there's a good chance you're going to want to go by air, but that doesn't mean that you have to leave your animals behind. I bought my ticket and also one for my cat, Rue. She has a $25 one-way ticket to anywhere. I've checked my baggage, but Rue has to go to a very special place in the baggage service department. So be sure to leave yourself plenty of time to settle in. We've arranged to meet Frank Merkel, supervisor of customer service here at United, to help Rue and I check in. Hi
We've
there.
been expecting you. Good morning.
Good morning. I think we're ready to go.
Looks like you are. You have your kennel and cat. The only thing this morning is that I have room in the cabin that you may carry Rue on board with you if you like.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to take her with me.
Only one thing is that this kennel will not fit under a seat.
Oh,
I do have
okay.
kennels that I can sell to you for $15.75, which will accommodate Rue.
And these are the right size for taking right on board with me.
This is the right size kennel, and it's standard equipment for all carriers, for all airlines.
Is there any way I can rent this, or?
No, this has to be purchased because of health reasons. We like the owner to own it.
And it can go with me on any other flight should I decide to travel
Any
later
flight,
on
as
with
long
her?
as you have reservations for the cabin.
Okay, I'll put her in there for you, no problem.
One thing before, do you have your health certificate?
Can't get away without it, huh?
No.
There you go.
Check it for you. That looks all in order. Thank you.
Okay. Come on, Rue, we're just
Rue
going
in
to
here.
move places here for a second. Oh, you'll be so much happier, you can go right with me. There we go. Can she have something in with
You
her?
may put your blanket in or a toy.
Oh, I think
whatever
just
you
a
like.
toy to keep her company
Okay.
would be fine. That's super. These are nice and secure, too.
Yes, and also has a feature where you might, in flight, want to pet your animal or give it a little snack. It slides open and just make sure it's
Oh,
closed
that's
after
very
you
nice.
visit with the animal.
Oh, and well ventilated, too.
Right.
This is great for Rue size, or maybe for a very small dog, but I couldn't help but see that you have some very nice large carriers, and I have a 110-pound bull mastiff that I definitely need something
Right.
a little bit bigger.
Well, you see, we have kennels all the way from the small size to the extra large size.
Oh, I think this would fit very nicely for me. About how much does this cost?
This is $70, and again, it's yours. You purchase it, and it's yours.
So there's no
goes
way
on.
I can ever buy a seat for my dog?
No, you can't buy a seat for your dog.
For dogs such as seeing eye dogs or hearing ear dogs, what are the rules
They
regarding
go along with the passenger in the airplane, and there's only one rule that we have, and they have to sit in a bulkhead seat.
that? And do you have any restrictions on how many animals can go in cargo or how many on board?
Yes, because of airspace, we do limit our airplanes, big airplanes, to 5 dogs.
And then on board, I think it's one in the cabin?
One per cabin, one in a first class cabin and one in a coach cabin.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, I'm very happy I get to take Rue along
Okay.
with me. That'll be super. Frank, what are the problems that you see when people travel with their pets?
Well, one of the biggest problems is that people bring their own kennels down and expect us to use them. You can use your own kennel. You do not have to buy a United Airlines kennel, but it has to be built to our specifications so that there's enough ventilation in and there's enough room for the dog in the kennel. And another problem is that they get here late to the airport with the dog or the pet.
So they should get here at least a half hour,
At least
you
half
say?
hour before.
How do the animals fare with the air travel?
Well, in 35 years, I've worked with the airlines. We have lost 2 animals. One was from over-tranquilization, and the other one was the natural causes, died from natural
Really?
causes.
And what are the peak times that you see for pet
Big
travel?
time seems to be in the summertime. When people are going on vacation, they take their pets with them. And we're finding more and more students going back and forth to college taking their pets with them.
I take it that this is where we're headed.
If you'll follow me, I'll help you up the steps.
Great. Whoa. Frank, can you explain to me where I am?
You are in one of 3 cargo pits on a DC-10. This
All
is
right.
what is called a forward cargo pit. We have a rear cargo pit, and we have a manual cargo pit. All cargo pits take baggage, freight, mail, so forth, whatever we have. But this forward cargo pit is for animals only, pets only.
All right, so if you have hazardous things like, say dry ice to give off carbon dioxide,
Yeah,
they
that-
wouldn't be in here with
No,
pets.
they will be in one of the other pits, and because of the carbon dioxide from the dry ice, we do not board animals in the same pits with the hazardous materials.
What are the conditions like for the pets here?
The conditions are that we have ventilation coming through here, we have air, we have pressurization that's equal to the same as the cabin.
Really? What about the noise level, though? Are they in a constant din?
The noise level is less than it is in the cabin.
Really?
Really.
Oh, and now the lights go off, though.
The lights go off, it's dark.
So they're in the dark for
Right.
the whole trip.
But the pets are put into this area here, and they're put into their individual containers, the kennels. They are not put into large containers as some people think. They're in their individual containers in here, up to 5 animals.
Really? Now, whether it's like 95 degrees outside or if it's 25 degrees, is there ever a time where you just won't take an animal?
The only time we do not take animals is if there's something mechanically wrong with the airplane. Pressurization's not working, circulation's not working, that's the only time. If it's real hot outside, we bring the animals out very last from the air-conditioned room, board them on the airplane, take them off first at their destination.
All right, so they're on left,
They're
off
on first. Now I see the cargo is ready to be put on. I think it's time we board our
All
flight.
right, how about you first?
Okay?
Okay. better give me a hand here. That was a rare opportunity to see the inside of a cargo hold, and Frank was just terrific in giving us a tour. Here you go, Rue, right under the seat. I'm really glad she's going to be with me. I think she'll end up comforting me more than me comforting her. But in a few short hours, we'll be checking into our hotel in San Francisco. Both of us are anxiously anticipating a wonderful fish dinner tonight. Thank you. There are approximately 8,000 hotels, motels, and inns nationwide which allow guests with pets. In Europe, it's a widespread practice. And although Emily Post has not formally addressed the subject, there are some simple rules of etiquette for pet owners to follow, so both you and your pet are welcome just about anywhere, except North Carolina, where they don't allow animals in guest rooms. There you'll have to find a kennel. But in this hotel, pets are welcome, and we'd like to keep it that way.
There you go.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. Rue would like to get settled, but her bed is not necessarily my bed. So let's move our base of operations to the bathroom. Let's go, little one. Rue's going to be spending an awful lot of time here. It's a confined space, there's nothing breakable, and that means it's safe for her and good for the hotel. So let's get her situated. I'm sure after a long trip, first thing she'd like to head for is her cat box. So we're going to put together her litter pan. I'm going to use one of these plastic liners. This makes it very nice for litter disposal. And when we're going to be using cans of cat food, it also is a nice clean way to put any empty cans in. Of course, if you have flushable litter, that can go right down the toilet. We'll give her a nice, good bed of litter here. Now, the bathroom is a good place for this litter box because when she uses it, if she sprays a lot of litter out around, it's going to be on a nice linoleum floor. So it's going to be easily cleanable, and you're not going to have a lot of the litter getting in the nap of the carpeting. So that we'll put right down here. Next, we'll get her water set up. Now this is nice and dry, nothing leaked. We'll attach her little bowl to the end. Now if I can just get the thread started, we should be all right. This is one water bowl that's not supposed to need a plumber. There we go. And the water comes out very nicely. And again, we're going to keep this in the bathroom because spills are going to be awful easy to clean up. Now her food I'll give her later. I'd like her stomach to have a chance to settle down after a long trip, so I'll open up her food in a few hours for her. Now, Rue's bed is also going to go in the bathroom as well, and there's a good reason for it. She's an early riser, so she's going to get up about 4 a.m., start tearing around the hotel room looking for her scratching post to scratch. I didn't bring one. I know if she's confined in the bathroom through the night that there's no mischief that she can get into unless I'm up watching her. So I'll place this, a nice towel from home, in here as well. Now what if I'm going out to dinner and I'm going to leave her here alone? Your animal, dog or cat, should not be left in a hotel room alone unless they are confined, and preferably in a carrier. Now this is for their own protection. If a maid would come to the door, your dog or cat could easily run out into the hallway and be lost. Also, if your dog is very protective, he or she might even snap at housekeeping personnel. Not to mention the fact that while you're gone, they don't have a lot to do, and out of boredom, they could actually do damage in the hotel room. Now, if you absolutely insist that you will not confine your animal in a carrier while you're gone, at least put them in the bathroom, close the door, put a sign on the door to the maid, do not disturb, animal indoors. Likewise, if your cat insists that she or he has to sleep right on the bed with you, be nice enough to at least bring a sheet from home. Place it over the bed, and that'll catch any hairs, so the management will be happy, and also the next person who comes in, if they have an allergy to cats, won't be bothered. Now, I find, as a good reference source, it's a nice idea to pack this mobile travel guide. Gives a good listing of exactly what hotels will and won't allow pets. It's a good thing to know when you're on the road. Now, what have I missed? If you're traveling by ship, yes, most ships will carry pets. Please check ahead to make sure which ones do and don't. Hi, Rue. If you're traveling by rail, again, a lot of rails will take pets. Amtrak currently doesn't. So if you're planning on going by Amtrak, oh, you should check ahead. And campgrounds, yeah, a lot of our campgrounds do welcome pets, but state to state, there's always different rules and regulations. So again, check ahead. Whether you're taking a vacation or having a business trip, the joys of traveling are always tempered by the hassles and inconvenience of just being out of your own environment. Your pet is dependent on you to keep his or her lifestyle as consistent as possible. With some good planning and some tender loving care, your cat or dog can be at home, away from home. Right, Rue? It's nearly impossible to totally child-proof your home, and likewise is it to try to cat-proof it. And you shouldn't have to, as long as you practice some good common sense. We're going to troubleshoot a few things for you, room by room, and let's start in the kitchen. The stove. The electric burners that we have here are very slow to lose their heat, and even worse are the type of burners that you have with just the designs on top, and you really can't tell whether they're hot or cold. A cat may jump up on the stove to a cool portion here, trying to get a nibble of food that might have fallen off, and step right on that burner. Results in awfully burned pads and a trip to the veterinarian. So until the burner is cooled down, put a pot on it, and this will save a lot of burned feet. The oven door. Many times you'll be cooking and you'll leave the oven cracked open to cool down. Your cat may sniff an awful good smell, jump right in there, and then the kids come home from school and slam the oven door. You go to preheat it a few hours later and your cat's still inside. So the moral of the story is always check your oven before turning it on. Same goes for your microwave ovens. This is not a place for the kids to try to dry off the cat, and I find it especially helpful to store many of my bread products. My cats like to chew on plastic bags, and they'll often go for the hamburger buns or the bread bag. So store them in here. You may find it's more convenient. The can opener. If you've got animals, every morning, here you stand at the can opener, or you're preparing food for everyone else in the house. And there's nothing more dangerous than spilling everything and having the lid stick right up on top. Depending on what you open, your animals may find that this smells just great. And before you know it, they're up on the counter licking this lid that's still attached to the can opener. I know, Azar, it does smell awful good. So take these lids off. We don't need a lot of cut tongues, and simply dispose of them immediately. Electric cords. This one is hanging free, and I don't hide these cords because my cats simply have never ever bothered them. Obviously, it's much safer with electric cords to hide them out of reach or simply unplug the appliance when it's not in use. This way it saves an electrocution. I know, Azar. Same with knives. If I was preparing this product, and you can hear Azar's vocalization, I have a lot of sauce and drippings on this knife. Again, if I just laid it here, he would jump up on the counter as soon as I walked away, lap at it, and then he's got a lacerated tongue. So when you're done using a knife, put it in the dishwasher or wash it and put it away. Don't leave things sitting out. Which brings us to the sink. My cats are notorious for jumping up on the counter, especially after I've gone to bed or the office. And these glasses would end up knocked over and in pieces in the sink. Likewise, if you, like me, and stack things up in the sink for a day or two, it's a great place for an animal to jump in and either play in the water or try to lick off some of the plates. As a result, put these things away or wash them. They'll get in there, there'll be cut glass everywhere if they bang a few dishes around and break them, and then you come home to a cat with cut pads that also needs a trip to the veterinarian. Below the sink is probably one of the biggest dangers in your house, and that's where you keep all the insecticides and a lot of household cleaning detergents. And if you're like Azar the cat, he's real good at trying to get in here, so you should have doors that automatically spring closed. And if you have a cat who loves to be able to open these with their feet, either put a magnetic latch on them or put a mechanical latch on the outside. Now the telephone presents a whole different problem. Most kitchens do have phones, and my cats especially think these are just great to nibble on. This is the third telephone cord I've gone through this year so far. Not really much of a problem to the cat, but it's an incredible nuisance for you. As for me, there's not much I can do about it. Maybe you have a place where you can put your phone where your cat can't get to it. The kitchen is also a place where many people will keep sewing equipment, needles and thread. Needles and thread are great toys for cats. They'll play with them, and they'll actually swallow the needle. The string can get tied up under the tongue, and the needle will go right down the hatch. If this does occur, it can be fatal if it's not taken care of almost immediately, and they don't give you a lot of signs that they've done it until many times damage has been done. So keep all sewing equipment neatly tucked away in a drawer that they can't get into. And what would every kitchen be without the trash? My cats think the trash is the best place to play in as soon as I go to bed or leave for work in the morning. So when you put a lot of products in here and it smells great for them, tie them up, put them on the porch or out in the laundry room so they just can't get to them. And this way you'll sleep better and you won't come home to a mess and an awfully sick cat. In the wintertime, the wood stove is a bright spot in the house. My cats will cuddle right up to this, even though the stone in front of the stove is hot to the touch. But even in multiple cat households, I've never known of a cat who will actually jump up on it. They feel the heat radiating from it and snuggle to it, but don't attempt to jump on it. Obviously, if your cat is the exception to this rule, you'll have to do something to encase the wood stove in a screen so he can't jump up and hurt his paws. With space heaters, we have to worry about a couple things. This is a nice sturdy one. It's short and has a wide base, but there are many space heaters that are tall, and these are easily knocked over by cats, resulting in an electrical fire as well. When you're buying a space heater or an electrical fan, check the grates. Make sure that they are closely spaced together and there is not enough room for a paw or a tail to inadvertently get inside. Now the fireplace is a different story. The fireplace can be a hazard to both your cat and your family. All fireplaces produce sparks, and your cat could also become mesmerized by the light and try to play with the fire with his front paws. Or they may cuddle up awful close and have a tail get right into the blaze. So practice good fire prevention and have your fireplace protected with a screen or some type of mesh. When it comes to living room cat furniture, this is probably the most basic of cat posts. It's got a nice solid beam and a flat place for your cat to perch on top. But say, for instance, you had a box on top of here and all sides were enclosed in with just a little peephole for your cat to get in through the front. If your cat was inside and this post got knocked over during the day while you were out, your cat could be trapped inside with no air supply and could suffocate. So if you have a cat post with all sides enclosed, or if the top resembles a mailbox, make sure you punch holes in on all sides for air to circulate through. Off to the bedroom. In the bedroom, there are other heating elements that we need to be aware of. The first of these is the electric blanket. If your cat loves to take his or her claws and knead and dig into the electric blanket, he or she may inadvertently rip and fray one of these electrical wires within, resulting in electrocution or an electrical fire. The same goes for mattress covers that are also heated, although usually these are covered with enough layers of sheeting and blankets that you really need not be too concerned. With dresser drawers, you need to know your cat's favorite hiding places. Many times while you're getting ready for work in the morning, your cat may scoot in here to take a quick cat nap, and you may forget. Close the door and not find him or her until that evening or sometimes the next day. So know their places and be aware of them. This bedroom is on the second story, and high rises have always given cats major problems. Many cats like to sleep on a windowsill, enjoy some sun, but they lean up against the screens, and if your screens are not put in securely, they can roll over and head 6 stories down. Some people in the summertime will crack open the window even without a screen, and if your cat is on the floor on the bed and sees a bug, he or she may jump up here not realizing that it's 12 stories down. So take care to secure your screens and make sure that they're nice and firmly in place. If your home was built before 1960, you may also have some lead-based paint that was used to paint the trim around the windows. If your cat likes to chew on woodwork, make sure that this isn't a problem in your home. Looks cozy, doesn't it? It's an awful inviting place for a cat to decide to catch 40 winks. And it's also very easy for this door to be slammed shut and the dryer turned on. The hazard is obvious, so be careful. Check your dryer before turning it on, and when it's not in use, keep that door tightly closed. While you're in the laundry room, you may also be doing a little bit of ironing. Hot to you, hot to your cat. For both of your sake, unplug it when not in use and put it in a safe place to cool down. We've hit some of the highlights of the places where your cat can get into trouble when he's exploring your house on a daily basis. But they also like to explore a lot of things with their mouths. Next week, we'll take a look at some of the plants that can be harmful in your cat's indoor and outdoor jungle. that's all the time we have this week. But next time on Cats and Dogs, we'll discover the extraordinary skill, courage, and agility of the California Search and Rescue Team that helped locate buried victims of the devastating September 85 earthquake in Mexico City.
We were very scared yesterday, but we had a live find yesterday.
Then in part 2 of our cat proofing feature, we'll unearth a variety of poisonous plants at home and in the garden. So make sure to join me next time with even more Cats and Dogs.
Cats and Dogs is made possible by a grant from CalCan. They make pet care more rewarding with a full line of 100% nutritionally complete dog food, including CalCan canned dog food and mealtime dry dog food. CalCan, the pet care company.
Cats and Dogs is rebroadcast Sunday mornings at 11:30. Stay with us now for A Planet for the Taking. Quite an interesting episode this week called The Runaway Brain. Check it out. Pet Tips from Cats and Dogs answers more than 100 questions about caring for your cat or dog. To order your copy, send $4 to Pet Tips, Cats and Dogs, Box 322, Boston, Massachusetts, 02134. Next on Channel 2, A Planet for the Taking, with the thought that perhaps we're really part of this complex organism. Stay tuned.
On the next Map in Lucia, Lucia paints, plays, performs,
Something more, I hope.
and speaks Italian.
Che bella lingua.
Map's losing face.
I've knocked the moral stuffing out of her.
But can Lucia save face?
She knows no more Italian than good morning, good night, and spaghetti. She can't help but be exposed.
While George tries on a new face.
Do I look the thing? You look exactly the thing, old man. Whatever it is.
Map in Lucia.
Map in Lucia, tonight at 10. This is Channel 2 Boston, public television in stereo for New England.
The promise of science and technology has been that they would improve the quality of our lives. And in many ways they have, at least for a minority of this planet's population of humans. But often the benefits of scientific discovery have been accompanied by detrimental effects. And today, our use of technology has created immense problems. Global pollution, threat of nuclear war, energy shortages, resource depletion, extinction of many species of plants and animals. What has gone wrong with the bright promise? Scholars are now beginning to question many of our long-held beliefs about the objectivity of science, its ability to provide a comprehensive description of nature, our capacity to manage the environment. And more fundamental questions must be asked. Is nature there to be used in any way we see fit? Is it our preordained destiny to subjugate all of nature? Is our drive to dominate an inborn characteristic of our species? These are not abstract questions for some future time, for unless we
Well, I for one am changing my clothes and I'll meet you all out back.
Okay, Sloan, I think you better get that portable generator ready, because we're going to need some light.
Aye, sir.
I've got an idea. I'm going to go get a hold of Myra and have her brew up some coffee for us, okay?
That's a very good idea.
Well, wait for me. This is most irregular.
Come on, move it, Walter. Make yourself useful. Come on.
All My Children will continue in a moment.
These kids are protected by the leading mosquito repellent. This one by Deep Woods Off. Hours later, only Deep Woods Off is still protecting. Deep Woods Off fights bites for hours.
Mom's gonna shine the floor bright. Guess I'll watch the soap so it dries.
Surprise, baby. Fast Dry Bright is dry before you know it.
So shiny and already dry. Wish I was.
Turn on a bright shine with Fast Dry Bright.
I've had skin cancer. I spent too many years in the sun, unprotected. I'm fine, but I'm concerned. My kids inherited my fair skin. That's why I'm so glad there's Shade sunscreens. Shade helps protect 3 ways. From sunburn, from skin damage, and 3, Shade is more waterproof than sundown. Now we can feel more protected.
Shade, for the best protection under the sun. And now there's new Ultra Shade SPF 23 for ultimate protection.
Should I tell folks my award-winning barbecue sauce is really crap, thick and spicy?
Jimmy Jones!
The press.
What's the secret behind your famous barbecue sauce?
You mean how it's so thick it stands up to my drumstick test?
Great shot.
Uh-huh, and spices you can see.
Got 'em.
And taste. Ooh-wee! My secret?
Yeah?
Talent. Pure talent.
Kraft Thick and Spicy Barbecue Sauce. Now in a great new mesquite flavor.
The young up-and-comers of Wall Street. Recent arrests have many people wondering in which direction their moral compass is pointed.
Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Ask me what time it is.
You know?
Sure. Then you watch tell time 2 ways.
Ah, the numbers here tell the time here.
6:10.
You and your child get more out of the play school years with Play School's Timex Teach Me Watch. Makes it easier to learn to tell time, and it's a Timex, so it can take a licking.
Now it's dinner time.
Feeling good about the Play School years.
Happy birthday, Lady Liberty, from the children of Channel 5.
Celebrate our nation's mix of many at the World of Difference Festival, July 4th at the MDC's Esplanade. International singer and musician Jose Feliciano and 12 ethnic bands will perform.
Gloria has a case of nerves, Wednesday, 5:30.
And now you want my advice, is that it?
This is hot. It's good.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. But if you don't stop tasting it, darling, there will be nothing left for dinner.
Okay, I'll save some. I'll save that.
Well, all I can tell you